so many people that are listening to this, or just in general, they want to do something more. They want to create more of an impact, have more fun, make more money. That's available to everybody, but you have to understand that it's a choice. When I got quiet and really reassessed and connected, that mindfulness was like the portal to expansion. And I realized I could choose a different story, different movie, different narrative. Why not me?
Welcome to the Hard Way podcast with Joe De Sena, founder and CEO of SPARTAN Races. We're teaching you how to overcome your obstacles in your life the same way we teach our 10 million plus Spartans to overcome obstacles on the course. With insight from the smartest, most accomplished experts from every corner of the world. Get ready to elevate your life today.
When battling brutal Spartan obstacles over a mixture of muddy miles and tough terrain, starting off on the right foot means any foot protected by the lasting comfort and proven durability of Mud Gear socks. Mud Gear started equipping Spartans over 10 years ago, and since then, they've perfected the art of protecting your most valuable race day assets. From the way they fit, to the way they wick and drain moisture, to their strategic cushion and venting, Mud Gear socks are a must for any Spartan hoping to not just survive, but dominate the course. Endure longer and race stronger with Mud Gear socks that are made tougher, just like you. Shop Mud Gear at the Spartan store, at your next Spartan race, or right now at mudgear.com.
Joe De Sena, CEO and founder of Spartan and the Hard Way podcast. We've got a great one for you today. I got my buddy Craig Siegel. This guy's an animal. He's a performance coach. He's written a book. He's a best-selling author. I see him inspiring people every day. And he runs. He runs a lot, although we do have a bone to pick with Craig because he runs a lot of boring marathons, 5Ks, 10Ks. We need him out there doing some crazy shit like we do. How you doing, bud?
Doing great. It's always excited to get with you. There's no place in the world I'd rather be. You made a profound impact on my life, and I talk about that a lot in the book. Let's have some fun. Let's get nuts.
All right, so how did I make an impact? I'll tell you, I was in Jersey this weekend at the Spartan race, and I was randomly just going up to people, and I was saying, tell me your story. And somebody might say, and it happens everywhere, Craig, I lost 50 pounds. I'm back with my husband. I'm back with my wife. I gave up drugs. I'm no longer drinking. I found this new drug, the stuff we do. And I had this one girl say to me Sunday, I was stabbed 37 times. I'm supposed to be dead. And this race gives me life. I was not expecting that one. So tell us, how did Spartan help you?
A few years back, let me paint the picture. I was on Wall Street for 13 years, and I was making some money. And at that season of life, I attributed that to be successful. And just to be clear for your listeners, making money is absolutely a part of success, but not the whole thing. And I found myself in a really dark place a few years ago, right before the pandemic, before I reinvented myself. I just got out of a toxic relationship, which is never fun. My best friend, my dad, had just gotten diagnosed with cancer, still battling. And even though I had my own business, wasn't exactly putting a dent in the universe by any means. Basically, I was living someone else's life, and all I had to do was change absolutely everything. And I started drinking a little bit more than I'd like to admit. I think I was just trying to escape the current reality and the misery, but I didn't stay there long. And then in between what I'm doing now, which is finally being in alignment, and that season, I don't know how, but I came across your book, Spartan Up. And I just started reading it, and it was weird for me because I'd always lifted weights and worked out, but it was never, you couldn't pay me to run a few years back. Now I'm literally paying to run marathons. And your book was the right content at the right time, not a coincidence, divine intervention. And because of your book, I decided to sign up for a 5K at the time, which for me was a stretch. Like I said, you couldn't pay me to run. And then I ran it. And then I was hooked and I became obsessed. And that year, I went from not being able to run a mile without stopping. Just to be clear, like I was in shape physically, but not really mentally. And I ran 4 marathons that first year that I read your book. Now I'm training for New York City and I never looked back. And that marathon season kind of created the path for me to realize that I could do some hard things. I could be successful at something I didn't necessarily have experience in. And then I put it all together in the pandemic and left Wall Street doing what I'm doing now, which is inspiring people all over the world and so forth. But it was your book at the right time.
I ran into somebody, no BS, on a course, not in New Jersey, in Killington, Vermont. And I said, how did you end up here? And he said, it's a crazy story. He said, someone left your book in my house and I just happened to pick it up Fireplace was going. It was a cold night. And next thing you know, I was doing Spartan races. So it is funny, like you said, divine intervention. And
It's
I
not a
guess that
coincidence.
happened, right?
Not a coincidence at all. Somehow the book found me, if I'm being honest.
I love it. And so you feel better compared to Wall Street?
Oh yeah. I mean, for me, and you were on Wall Street for a while, like, like, let's just call it what it is. Like, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't have mentors at that season of life, and I wouldn't have changed a thing because I learned a lot of stuff on there, specifically discipline and hard work. But I was a gladiator in the wrong arena, and I just wanted to like do good in the world. And it started becoming so stressful, and it was a headache, and it was unpredictable. And I always knew I was here for something more, just like we all are. But the pandemic, kind of that forced pivot, allowed me the opportunity to block out the noise and really connect and get quiet and reassess. And it was then that I realized that I had a choice. In fact, we all do. And a lot of the traits that made me successful in running, in business, were transferable. And I realized I'm obsessed with personal development. I always have been. And I could communicate pretty effectively. And so I created a vision. I don't want to be the next Tony Robbins. I want to be the first Craig Siegel. Kind of put together a 10-lane highway, each lane representing a different way to make an impact, speaking, coaching, book deal, podcast, all the things. And then I reverse engineered it, said, what's step one? Start building a personal brand. And then I had that one moment. Can I really do this? Like, I have no connections, no celebrity friends, nothing. And for me, and I think this will really resonate with the audience, I consider what I like to call the COI, the cost of inaction. And for me, I made it so real for myself that I began to associate death with choosing to go back and be miserable. And so right then and there, the fear of stepping into the unknown transformed into excitement.
I love it. It's a hard thing to do. I remember when I left Wall Street, even though that was my plan, it's very hard to pivot. It's very hard to leave what's comfortable.
Yeah.
And most people are just stuck on a track, going to a place they don't want to go.
At the risk of their own health.
No doubt.
Right?
I remember all those years, I had a pool and construction company in New York, so I did a lot of driving around the 5 boroughs, and I'd be stuck in traffic, and nothing drove me more crazy than being stuck in traffic, because talk about cost of inaction, COI, like you're doing nothing.
All right.
Just stuck, bumper to bumper, somewhere in the 5 boroughs. And I just thought, I have to get to a place where I'm never stuck, where I'm just able to make things happen all day, every day.
Yeah. Yeah, this is so good. I want to ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
And challenge you on your own show.
Let's do it.
You had to make a major pivot and kind of reinvent yourself in the pandemic because a lot of your, if not all, correct me if I'm wrong, but your races were shut down and so forth. So how did you adjust, evolve, and adapt to that?
I'm really fortunate. I don't know if everybody has this trait, but because I have ADD, I forget things really quickly. I don't spend a lot of time dwelling on anything. I'm always moving forward. And John, who's helping us with his podcast, who's in the background right now, I called him up. I called up a few buddies and I said, come on, we're going to the farm in Vermont. We're going to lock down on the farm for 2 weeks because the pandemic's only going to last 2 weeks.
That's what
We're going to work, right? We're going to work from the farm. And we were on that farm for a long time. And we evolved. We evolved from putting on events. We could no longer put on events to producing content from 5 a.m. till 8 o'clock at night. We just produced a ton of content. And the idea was, could I stay in touch with everybody just for these 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever it was going to be until the world opened back up? And that's what we did. I got my family involved. My youngest daughter was putting workouts. I was doing 3 or 4 workouts a day. We were just producing content nonstop. That didn't pay any bills, but it did keep us connected to the audience. When the world opened back up, I did not anticipate how expensive it was going to be to relaunch this company. And we blew through well over $50 million, which we didn't have. And we've been upside down ever since. It's been an absolute disaster. The hardest part of my life, there has not been a tougher, more difficult moment, but every day gets better. And somehow, because I have ADD, because I'm stubborn, because I'm stupid, I just won't quit. And hopefully we wake up here in the next 90 days, 120 days at some point, and this whole thing has passed me.
Yeah, that was really beautiful, really deep. To be honest with you, I was expecting it to be like this, crazy happy ending, but you're going through it and you're keeping it real and it's authentic. But also because you nurtured the community when you started making all that content, and community is huge. I don't know if anyone's done a better job of building and nurturing a community than you guys have.
We don't have to really build much. It's an incredible community. There's been 50,000 plus Spartan or Tough Mudder tattoos out there. So they're very committed. They're very bought in. But we don't do that much. People say to me when we're on a course, they'll say, "You changed my life." And I'll say, all I did was put a couple of arrows and flags here and there for you to follow a trail. We didn't really do anything. It's the people that do the hard work. And I think whenever you do hard work together with others, you build tremendous bonds. You're proud of yourself. You grow, as you said before. We weren't planning on building a community when this started. I didn't even think about community. I just wanted to put people through hard challenges, and it happened.
Yeah, but because you led the way and showed them, you brought a lot of like-minded people together, and that the community kind of was organic. And it feels like everyone that's a part of your awesome community, it's like they've been through some stuff. They want to challenge themselves. It's so much more, I believe, than just physical exhaustion and stuff like that. Would you agree?
It's mental torture to do anything hard. You know better than anybody. And when you push beyond your boundary, magic happens. Magic does not happen sitting on the couch watching Netflix. Magic happens when you go past where you think you could go. But you're out there, you're preaching this stuff every day, you're reading about it, you're a student of it, you're a professor of it. What tips would you give folks that are out there that want to pivot their life, that want to go further than they think they can, but they're stuck?
I think the first thing is awareness. If you think or you feel stuck, that's good, because you can't change it if you can't see it. So now that you realize that you're here for something more, you want to push yourself. You want to make an impact, make a difference, make more money, whatever the case may be. Now we can actually take some inspired steps forward. The one thing that I did, which was huge, is I was always like anxious about the future and depressed about the past because I wasn't where I'd hoped I'd been at 35 a few years back. And so I decided to forgive myself. And I think this is good for everybody. You don't have to approve of where you are or whatever the case may be going on in your life, but you do have to accept it. Now that we can accept it, we could start to take some inspired action. And for anyone that's listening right now, I'm like, well, I would like some clarity. It's obvious, Craig, you're obsessed with personal development. You could communicate. What about me? I'll give you something tangible. This is 6 or 7 exercises right here, 7-figure exercise. Make 2 lists. Grab a journal, grab a pen, get off your computer and actually write, and make 2 lists. One of the 10 things that you absolutely love. Like, I don't care, obstacle courses, reviewing movies, whatever your thing is, 10 of them. And then make a second list of 10 things that you're good at, your superpowers, your skill sets, your X factors. Everybody has a few. And then let's collect the data. Somewhere in the middle, there's going to be some commonalities. So for me, I'm obsessed with personal development. I can communicate effectively. I'm married to 2. But for someone else, it'll be something totally different. But there's going to be something. And then the last thing I'll say in regards to that is you cannot sit around and just wait for clarity. Clarity follows action. You have to be willing to get in the damn arena, look silly, try new things. And oftentimes, if you put yourself out there, if it's not the thing, it'll be the thing that leads to the thing. But you'll never know unless you get out there. And now reverse engineering my life, like for me, the running season was the thing that led to the thing because I wasn't trying to become a professional runner. But putting myself through all that voluntary hell and discomfort of running opened up what was possible for me, which led to eventually CLS. So you got to get in the damn arena.
I love that. I had a business at a very young age, pre-teens, and I would meet a lot of kids from the neighborhood who were doing well, and they didn't want to work, and they would say to me, well, I don't know if I want to go to college. Well, I don't know if I want to do this for work. I'm not sure. I'm going to find the thing I love to do. And there's a lot of Craig Siegel wannabes out there that are telling people you got to do what you love and this and that. And I completely disagree. I agree with you, which is just get out there and do something. Just do something. Something leads to something else, leads to something else. You meet somebody before you know it, you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
That's right. Yeah, 100%. And clarity follows action. You just got to try new things. And if you don't know what you love, like, just sign up for something. And it doesn't have to be necessarily an obstacle course, although it should be, and it should be a Spartan. But for me, like, I realized that I'd been so all in with this book launch, and you know better than I do, writing the book's kind of the easy part. Like the launch after, there's a lot of work. In addition to running a business, I'm engaged with a brand new puppy, and my fitness was kind of taking a back seat. I'm still work out every day, non-negotiable, but like I wasn't as enthusiastic about it. So I signed up for the New York City Marathon, and then right away, accountability through the roof, outer expectation. It's like, who do I have to become to be the type of cat that runs that race very well? All of a sudden I'm into it. I hired a coach for the first time. I'm running with a group and a community. And that's just one example. Obviously, I'm not talking about business in regards to that, but just throwing something in the calendar that, for lack of a better word, scares the shit out of you and forces you to level up.
When battling brutal Spartan obstacles over a mixture of muddy miles and tough terrain, starting off on the right foot means any foot protected by the lasting comfort and proven durability of Mud Gear socks. Mud Gear started equipping Spartans over 10 years ago, and since then, they've perfected the art of protecting your most valuable race day assets. From the way they fit, to the way they wick and drain moisture, to their strategic cushion and venting, Mud Gear socks are a must for any Spartan hoping to not just survive, but dominate the course. Endure longer and race stronger with Mud Gear socks that are made tougher, just like you. Shop Mud Gear at the Spartan store, at your next Spartan race, or right now at mudgear.com.
No doubt about it. We're 100% aligned on that. What does somebody do, like you just described, that's stretched between family, business, fitness? They're stuck because they don't have time for one or the other. They're trying to get work-life, quote-unquote, balance. What do they do?
What is work-life balance? Right, I'm still trying to figure that one out. I encourage everybody to build a life that you don't necessarily need to vacation from, right? Because you love it. You can do it from anywhere, whatever the case may be. You may change geographic locations, but you don't need something to escape. And I speak from contrast because I spent 35 years, more specifically 13 on Wall Street, like petrified of having to leave because then I would miss something, or it was the worst. So now it's like, I don't really know what that is, that work-life balance. For me, I wake up every single day excited and enthusiastic. And I believe if you can find what you want to do, what you love to do, or a purpose, or somewhere in between, and give it your all, the money's going to come because it'll be a byproduct. It'll be an energetic exchange. In regards to like family and stuff like that, look, let's just call it what it is. Me and you are kind of nuts. It takes a special type of cat to deal with us, I would imagine. So, you got to find the alignment, the right support system, and so forth. And not everybody's going to get it, right? Especially as you continue to grow and evolve. Like, I don't have much in common with my friends from the past, kind of after I reinvented myself. And it doesn't mean I'm right or they're wrong. I'm just growing so rapidly now and spreading my wings, and my values have changed. And I just want to spend time around people like you, people that have like a common future, not necessarily a common past.
Somebody just told me recently when they talked to my wife before she was my wife, the day of the wedding, actually, she said, yeah, the problem with Joe is he can't just look at the mountain. He's got to climb it.
Yeah.
And so that is the problem for people that have that itch. And then you got to find, like you said, that support system. So thankfully my wife deals with it. My kids deal with it. They know what they're in for. Dad's always moving. We're always doing stuff as a family. We're never going to sit still. And that's just the deal. We've got a death camp. I don't know if I ever told you, we got a death camp in the summer on the farm where we take kids out and torture them.
How young are the kids?
We go from, my youngest daughter was doing it at 5 years old. So very young, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up to 18 years old. And girls, boys, about 100 kids a year we take. I close it off because I can't handle more than that. They do up to 14 days and, ice cold water, 5 a.m, carrying rocks up and down the mountain, crawling in mud, thousands of burpees, 50-mile hike, like crazy stuff. And the kids get through it. But I remember one day some kid was complaining and my son looked over and said, hey, you get to go home. I live with this guy.
That's great.
Yeah, you got to find the support system that gets
100%.
it.
Also, real quickly, something that we were just talking about before. I think this was in your book. because it always stuck out to me ever since I saw it. And you said something along the lines of like, when your time is up, you don't want to like get to the end like in dealership quality. You probably articulate it much more beautifully, but you want to kind of be beat up, like worn out, like no mileage left, like you gave it everything you got. And I agree. Like, this is a short trip, right? Like, we don't know how long we have, and pretty sure people later in life tend to regret like what they didn't go for, as opposed to what they did try and maybe failed. So I think it's good that you're giving it everything you got, and trying new things, and always moving and doing stuff.
Yeah, no, we make the kids memorize that speech, "Man in the Arena." So that's exactly
One of my personal favorites.
That's the best. So I don't know. What do you want to? How do people find the book?
Anywhere you buy books, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Target. If you want some bonuses that come with it, we have a free How to Reinvent Your Life toolkit. Go to the reinventionformula.com and make sure to submit your confirmation up, and we'll send some free stuff and bonuses. We also just dropped it on Audible, which was very demanding and challenging process, but it's cool. It's my voice. Anywhere you buy books.
The reality is pretty much everybody wants to reinvent their life. So this is a book you should all have. One last big thought from the book that you want to impart on people.
Yeah, I think that something that I often say is playing small is canceled. And because, we're in cancel culture right now. And I think if we should cancel anything, it's playing small. And you nailed it. So many people that are listening to this, or just in general, they want to do something more. They want to create more of an impact, have more fun, make more money. That's available to everybody. But you have to understand that it's a choice. And I speak from experience when I say I was very invested in a particular narrative, a story, a movie, that I would be a Wall Street guy. I'd always be stressed out. I'd make a certain amount of money. I had toxic relationships. When I got quiet and really reassessed and connected, that mindfulness was like the portal to expansion. I realized I could choose a different story, different movie, different narrative. Why not me, so to speak? And instead of focusing on what can go wrong, I started thinking, what can go right if you just go for it, if you lean in and you're resourceful and you're creative. So I know we went over some strategies earlier in the conversation about identifying the things that you like or that you're good at, but you got to go for it. And I believe it's not our opinion, it's our responsibility to fulfill like our assignment, find what our soul's here to do, and do some big stuff in the world, make some money, do great things with it, and play big. Straight up, playing small is canceled, and why not you?
I love it. Play big. Fire, ready, aim.
That's it.
You're the man. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me, John. Thank you for all that you do. You're making more of an impact than you realize.
When battling brutal Spartan obstacles over a mixture of muddy miles and tough terrain, starting off on the right foot means any foot protected by the lasting comfort and proven durability of Mud Gear socks. Mud Gear started equipping Spartans over 10 years ago, and since then, they've perfected the art of protecting your most valuable race day assets. From the way they fit, to the way they wick and drain moisture, to their strategic cushion and venting, Mud Gear socks are a must for any Spartan hoping to not just survive, but dominate the course. Endure longer and race stronger with Mud Gear socks that are made tougher, just like you. Shop Mud Gear at the Spartan store, at your next Spartan race, or right now at mudgear.com.